Alright guys, so here's my fish. I have kingfish and porgy fish in here. Use whatever fish that you like, and I did season my fish overnight, and this is the seasoning that I used. So you want to make sure you season your fish well, clean it and season it. And for the dredge, I'm using all-purpose flour, curry powder, and salt. Let me tell you something. Curry powder when frying fish, my Caribbean people, you're going to know what I'm talking about when you add that curry powder with your flour. Chef's kiss. So you're just going to go ahead and coat your fish in the flour. Then you go ahead and drop them babies in the oil. And I'm dropping some garlic cloves in the oil to give the oil some extra flavor, you guys. Trust me, this really does amp up the flavor when you're frying fish or whatever you're frying. Just try it. Just drop some garlic cloves in there. And then you're going to go ahead and flip our fish after a few minutes on one side. And you want to have your heat to medium low, guys, because, you don't want your fish to burn, right? Alright, so now that your fish is done, you're gonna remove that and let it soak up on a wet paper towel. And I think go ahead and fry the rest of my fish because you don't need to sit there looking at me frying a bunch of fish. So I went ahead and fry my fish, and then we're gonna get started on our gravy for our fish. So you're gonna add butter to your pan and let that melt. Alright, so you want to add equal parts of butter and flour to your pan and let that dissolve. And then when the flour has completely been incorporated with the butter, you're going to go ahead and add some water. And this is what's going to make our gravy, right? Then you're going to add some ketchup for flavor and color. And then I'm going to add some onions and bell peppers that I cut up. They don't have to be cute, You can chop them up anyhow, really. Add a little salt to taste. And I did add a little bit of that garlic pepper seasoning and some sugar, and the sugar is going to balance off the acidity of the ketchup and the tomatoes that we're going to add later on. So this is why I like adding sugar. Then you're going to add your fish back to the sauce and let that simmer down and let the sauce seep through that fish and just develop this amazing flavor. And then you're going to add your tomato slices on top of your fish. I love adding tomatoes in my stew fish. This is just how I grew up eating it, and I just love it like that. I mean, you can serve this with rice, anything, but it's literally perfect with Cou Cou. So why not? You guys, just look at this fish. Bomb. So you're just going to cover it down and let it just simmer for a few minutes. Alright guys, so you want to go ahead and get started by melting some butter in your pot. And when your butter is melted, you are going to need minced onions. As you guys see, I am mincing up some onions to the left side. Of course, you want to do that before you start melting your butter though, right? Then you're going to add those onions to your pot, as well as some pimento peppers, and this is the kind of peppers that I'm talking about. I am going to just mince those up and add them in there as well, and just saute them for a little bit until they start getting translucent. Now, I did have a video of this a while back, but I wanted to redo it, really take the time and really explain everything step by step. So here I am. This is the point of this video. Now that the peppers and onions soften up, we're going to go ahead and add the star of the show, which is the coconut milk. Now you need coconut milk for Cou Cou. This is what's going to give it that nice flavor. You need coconut milk. Like, you just can't make Cou Cou without coconut milk. Now, guys, here I'm showing you the grain of cornmeal that you need. You really need that really fine cornmeal. So you want to have one hand whisk, one hand cornmeal. This process goes by really fast. So as you whisk, you want to be pouring at the same time because you do not want the cornmeal to lump up on you. You don't want your Cou Cou to be lumpy. You want it to be nice and smooth, baby. So while you're pouring, you're whisking away, okay? And here I added some salt. I look, you forgot, but you want to add that to your milk before you add your cornmeal. But if you forget, you can add it at this stage while the Cou Cou is still a little mushy. Now it's a little too soft, so I'm adding a little bit more cornmeal. I'm working it in there. You want your Cou Cou to be pulling away from the sides of the pan. You want it to clump up together. It's a little too soft here, and I'm going to keep adding cornmeal gradually in there until it starts pulling away from the pan. As you can see, it starts pulling away from the pan here, but I still find it's a little too soft. You want it to be almost too hard for you to like move it around in the pan. Like it's kind of straining your hands when you're moving it around with the whisk. That's how you want it to be because you don't want it to be too soft and too mushy. So I'm adding a tad bit more of the cornmeal, and this should do it. And you want to have your heat at low at this point. Do not take it off, but add it at low. And you can see, guys, like it's becoming hard for me to turn it because that's the texture that you want. See, it's just sticking up in the whisk. I could barely turn it. And you see it's clumping up together, and it has completely moved away from the sides of the pan. This is what you want, right? And then we're good. You're just going to go ahead and transfer that to your Pyrex dish or whatever pan that you're using. And you want to move fast at this stage to smooth out your Cou Cou because as soon as it cools, it's going to firm up. So you want to move fast. Alright, guys, so I am adding shrimp to my callaloo today, so I'm just going to season that up with that same garlic pepper seasoning you saw me use earlier. And that seasoning does have salt in it, so I am not going to add any salt, just that. And I am going to add some butter to my pan and let that melt, and then you're going to add your shrimp. And y'all know shrimp cook fast. So once it get pink on the other side, you go ahead and flip it. And we're not really overcooking the shrimp right now because we're going to be removing it and adding it back. This is just to really get that nice flavor from the shells. So this is what we're doing. Then you add your onions. some diced pumpkin, and you want to dice them small so that the surface area increases and it breaks down faster. And also some okra. And I love a lot of okra in my callaloo. I like it a little slimy. So I'm adding a good amount of that in there. Now when everything starts breaking down like so, you're going to go ahead and add your spinach. And I'm adding a lot of spinach because y'all know how spinach do. Spinach are the most deceiving things ever. And then add your coconut milk. Ooh, ooh. See, I made a mess, but don't worry. We're going to clean that up. Go ahead and add you one kind of coconut milk in there, as well as some water, right? Then I'm going to add a little bit of salt to taste, and I'm going to cover that down and let everything boil down. Now this has been on the stove for a little bit, right? And the spinach has completely wilted, so we're just gonna get our swizzle stick. My Caribbean folks, you guys know what this is, right? I don't know what other name there is for this besides a swizzle stick. But if you have a handheld blender, you could use it, or you could just blend it, right? It's gonna speed up the process, or you could whisk away with the swizzle stick for as long as it takes. But I did went ahead and speed up the process in the blender. I don't know where that clip went. I'm so sorry. But yeah, you could add it to your blender, speed up the process. And then I'm adding back my shrimp in there, which I removed the shells, because when you're eating this, you do not want to, be having to pick out the shells every minute, right? Gonna add back the shrimp, and I did add a pimento pepper in there. And I'm just gonna, stir this a bit and let all the flavors just, heat up and really mesh together. So after some time, it's going to really thicken up nicely like so. This is what we want. And now it's just time to assemble our plate. And there you have it, guys. Cou Cou and fish with callaloo. Now, let the video speak for itself, you guys. I hope you can actually see. This was delicious. It was chef's kiss. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I would see you lovely people in the next one. Later.